Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Greenleaf Season 3, Episode 4, which was titled The Underdog. So before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that I haven't been doing any recaps for like the last probably 3 to 4, maybe 3 weeks, because I have been suffering from a really bad sinus infection, and the last few days have been like the first days that I have like been pain free without taking any type of pain medication. And to the person that suggested the neti pot where you clean out your sinuses, thank you so much, because that really helped, and it relieves so much of the pressure. I think I still may need to go to the doctor and get some antibiotics, because like the past probably 10 hours or so, I've been kind of feeling like it's starting to come back again. So I think I may have just kind of coated it over the past weeks with the home remedies that I've been trying. And so if it comes back, or I feel like the pressure is getting harder, I'm just going to go ahead and go and get some antibiotics and see if I can get it cleared up. But I missed so many recaps. I didn't do the season finale of Love Is. I didn't finish the season of Power. I haven't done like the last 4 episodes of the Yanla Fix My Life, and I missed the first 3 episodes of Greenleaf. Not sure if I'm going to go back. You guys know I like, even if I'm late, I still like to go ahead and go back and get those episodes done, just in case somebody discovers my channel later on. They'll have like the full season. But we'll see how it works out, see how I'm feeling, see how this humidity is doing, because it is so goddamn hot and humid here in St. Pete that when I went on my morning walk, I literally was about to call my daughter and tell her to come pick me up. It was just miserable out there. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into this recap, episode 4 of Greenleaf. So the episode begins with Lady May going to visit her friend Maxine Patterson, who is a mega preacher at this church that, oh my God, this church was massive. Okay, it was like walking into like a Fortune 500 corporation, with the lobby and just the people walking around. And I was just like, okay, so women gonna become these mega pastors, and they gonna be just as trifling as the men who are mega pastors. Like, what is going on? And when they get in there and sit down to start talking, Lady May said that it reminded her of the old days when they used to eat pork rinds and drink orange sodas or orange cream soda or something like that. And Maxine Patterson, who is played by Patti LaBelle, by the way, she calls out to her receptionist like, whatever you need, honey, we just make it happen around here. But Lady May was like, no, we don't need that. So she's basically there to talk to Maxine, because Maxine is a longtime friend of hers. I guess they used to be like really close back in the day. And Maxine told Lady May, stop worrying about being a wife and to answer her true calling, and that it was going to be a mistake for her to marry James, Pastor Greenleaf. But Lady May didn't listen. And so now she's there to tell Maxine that, she should have listened to her all those years ago, and that now she needs to know, how she's going to fix this, because she's going to leave James and she wants to start her own church. But Maxine told her, what you starting a church for when you already got a church? And Lady May was like, well, what do you mean? And she said, girl, women be getting divorced from these pastors, and the pastors go, they keep the church and keep thriving, and then the women got to find their way and start their own churches. She said, no, I say, divorce him and keep Calvary. Like, you don't have to leave, you stay there. And so I said, okay, they're gonna be on some of that Paula White-ish on this season. And let me just say right here and now, I love the drama, But it just like, and I probably said this before on other videos, it just really bothers me that in order for us as black people, because we don't see this too much on white television, but in order for us to be entertained and to be drawn into a TV show, seems like it always has to be to the demise of the breakup of the black marriage, the black family. You know, Lady Mae and Pastor Greenleaf been married, what, 40 years? Like, no, what did he say, 40 years or 46 years? And now all of a sudden, all that's about to come crumbling down and everything. But I just don't like that trend that long-term marriages are always torn apart on shows, and then the fact that it always has to be this tug of war between men and women. Is there not any other drama that will hold our attention that they could be focusing on? Because we don't see the white folks out there destroying their families and breaking down marriages and stuff on their dramas to keep their dramas going. Now guys, I did this whole video got up and realized that the battery had died at the like 9-minute mark. So let me go back over this one more again, okay? So Lady Mae eventually leaves Atlanta and returns to the Greenleaf estate, and she's greeted by Corinne, you know, who's the receptionist over there at Calvary. So Corinne is at the estate because Lady Mae and the bishop have planned this gala for the Roundtable, which is the ministry at the church that is the most supportive. I think they have to give like $10,000 or above to be a part of the Roundtable, and that's in addition to their tithes and offerings. And so Corinne is running the show. She has Marisol and the rest of the staff on their toes. They, you know, bringing in the flowers, setting up the tables, getting the wine and the liquor and all of that together. And so she fills Lady Mae in and let Lady Mae know that everything is going well. And so we're kind of like seeing a change in Corinne, because y'all know Corinne usually be sitting at that desk being nosy, you know, playing computer games and all this here, and not really doing much receptionist work. And a couple of seasons ago, you know, they had to wait and beg Corinne to do stuff because she's actually the granddaughter of Miss Clara, I think, the one that won the Powerball. And so she basically had a job because of her grandmother donating all that money to the church. But Corinne is changing and evolving and being more of a help, so that's a good thing. So Lady Mae gets thrown for a loop when Corinne tells her that Jacob and his family are coming over to the Roundtable Gala. And so she's like, what they doing here? So she goes upstairs and talks to Bishop Greenleaf to ask him, like, what in the world is going on? Like, why is Jacob coming? Jacob don't even go to Calvary anymore, and he has his own church. If you've forgotten, his church is our competition. So Bishop Greenleaf, you know, reminds her that Clara hasn't written the check for them yet, so they need to pull out all the stops and do whatever they can, you know, to make her assured that there's no problem, that everything is okay, and that once she pays this $2 million so that they can pay the IRS, that everything is going to be back to normal. Meanwhile, over at Jacob and Carissa's house, they are preparing for the event, and Carissa has this idea about sending Zora to a boot camp in Oregon. It's supposed to be like some behavior management or remodification or something. But Jacob did all that talking. You know, he trying to be all hard on Carissa. You know, he's going to take the computer, the phone, and all of this. He'll keep her locked in the room. But the minute Carissa said, send that little bad heifer away, he was all against that. And then I had posted on Facebook that Zora is turning out to be the Tariq of Greenleaf, and it's going to be to a point where everybody's going to hate her because she is so bad. And then we have a scene with Kevin and Aaron where Kevin is freaking out because he can't get in touch with Charity and he wants to call the police. But then Aaron is telling him, you know, that would be like the nuclear method, the nuclear option to go with. Just give her some time, keep trying to call, you know, because once you call the police on the mother of your child, you pretty much killed the relationship and any chance that the two of you are going to be able to co-parent peacefully together. Now, I will admit that in season 1, I loved Kevin. I was a big champion for Kevin. I wanted what was best for Kevin, but then Aaron came along, turned Kevin out. At least I thought Aaron turned Kevin out, but now it seems, Aaron's playing, I guess, like the feminine role, and Kevin is the masculine role in the relationship. And then he ain't paying Aaron no mind, and he just has the dominating personality now, whereas before it seemed like it was the other way around. But I have never at any point liked Aaron on the show, so I ain't got time for him. And Kevin, I'm gonna need you to bring it down a few notches yourself. In addition to inviting Jacob and Carissa and the kids to the party, Bishop Greenleaf has also taken it upon himself to invite an old friend named Percy. So it turns out that Percy is the one that actually introduced Lady Mae and the bishop. And so he's just pulling out all the stops, and he's hoping that Percy being there will remind Lady Mae of how they met and fell in love and decided to build cavalry and all of this here. But Lady Mae walks in, and first she's all excited. She's like, Percy, what you doing here? And then all of a sudden it clicked in her head, oh, this joker playing me. So now she kind of like, okay, you done invited Jacob now, you done invited Percy, what are you up to? Because at the end of the day, once this facade is over and we get that $2 million from Claire, this relationship is going to be over. So the event finally gets underway, and Lady Mae is making her rounds, greeting everybody. And then we have this scene where Grace and Darius, they're there. And before the event, Grace had told Darius to be prepared, because everybody's going to want to know who is he, where has Grace been hiding him. Now, I thought in last season, Darius actually attended church at Calvary, but I could be wrong. He might have been over there in Triumph, but I remember him showing up at a church service last season. But anyway, Clara comes over and she's talking to him, and she's basically doing exactly what Grace said that the people were going to be doing, and asking, where have you been? How are you guys in a relationship and nobody knows who you are? Why haven't you been coming to church? And so Lady Mae spies what's going on and goes over and saves them, by talking to Clara and kind of trying to pull her away. Then all of a sudden Grace looks up, and who comes busting into the party but Kevin and Aaron. And I'm sitting there like, okay, now y'all having this big fancy party on y'all estate, and y'all ain't got nobody at the door that's checking for RSVPs and making sure that folks that's coming in this event, coming into your home, are actually on the invite list. And the fact that Aaron and Kevin showed up and weren't even dressed for the event, didn't raise a flag to anybody. But child, anyway, Grace goes over to find out what's going on. So Kevin lets her know that he can't find Charity. He wants to know if Charity is there. Grace is like, no, Charity's not here. Charity is on tour. But he's still looking around no, she's not. I talked to Jabari, and Jabari said that she left the tour. I want to know where she at. And then Grace is like, I don't know where she's at. She told us she was on tour. So Grace pulls out her phone to call Charity and ask Charity what's going on. Child, Charity checked into some 5-star hotel or resort or somewhere. She all lounging out by the pool, drinking expensive wine. And Grace is like, is that swimming pool out here? And so she was like, don't be questioning my mother's skills. They have highly trained nannies here. Nathan is fine. And Grace was like, okay, well, Kevin is here, and he's upset, and he wants to know where you are. And Jabari said you done left the tour. And she was like, yeah, what about that? Things didn't work out. So Kevin is like, I ain't got time for this. He snatched the phone out of Grace's hand, and I'm like, boy, you about to reach a point of no return with me. You need to bring it down a few notches. So Charity hangs up, of course. She ain't got no words for Kevin at this moment. So Kevin's like, that's it, I'm calling the police. So he goes barging out. Now keep in mind, you got all these people in this house, and he's carrying on, but nobody's acting like they hear anything that Kevin is saying. And so as he storms out, the bishop is standing there like, what the hell going on? And so Grace, she pulls Aaron aside and is like, you can't let him call the police. And then Aaron's like, well, he's upset, Charity needs to work with him, but I understand what you're saying, Grace. Now try and talk to him and tell him don't call the police. So I was like, okay, whatever. I need you and Kevin to get on out this house. Okay, so after that whole fiasco calms down, Bishop Greenleaf decides that it's time to make a toast and thank the people for being there, for their generosity to Calvary. Before we get to the toast part, Jacob and Carissa, they're still debating about sending Zora to the behavior modification camp, as Carissa keeps wanting to call it. So Lady Mae walks over, and they quickly change the subject, which tips her off that something's going on. And so then Lady Mae and Jacob, they walk off and they're looking at some pictures like of, what was the sister name? Faith, and them when they were little kids and everything. So they get to talking, and then Jacob, opens up that Zora is over there running the household over there. And I don't know why Jacob or Carissa, when Zora get to run her mouth, there's two things as a black parent that you can do to let your children know that you brought them into this world and you can take them out. One is, if they're standing face to face talking to you and they get a little too high up, and they're not listening to you, just chop them right here mid-sentence. That'll knock all that off. And if you're in the same room with them and they're yelling and screaming, but you're like walking up on them, just haul off and slap them in the middle of the back around this area right here. It will knock the air out of them. It's going to take them about 10 seconds to realize what's happened. But I tell you, do that one time and your kids will not talk back to you anymore. Now, don't do it too hard and kill the kids. But if you do it in the right spot with the right amount of velocity, it will change their life forever. And they'll know not to ever talk back to you ever again. And Lady Mae, with all that she's got going on, she wants to divorce the bishop. She wants to plan a takeover of Calvary. She needs to get the IRS off their back. All this going on, trying to keep Rochelle at their marriage. And she says that she can take Zora in. She has exactly what Zora needs to calm her down. And so Jacob liked the idea, but I don't think it's going to go over too well with Carissa. So now we're at the part where Bishop Greenleaf wants to do the toast. And so Lady Mae, she kind of looking like, what this Negro up to now? So, he calls everybody up. He wants Percy to come up. He wants Jacob, Carissa, and the kids to come up. Grace to come up, with Sofia, big family gathering. So now he done put Lady Mae on the spot, and now she got to smile through whatever it is, and she don't even know what he's about to say. But he's basically thanking everybody for coming, for their contributions and support of Calvary. And then he started talking about how long him and Lady Mae been together. And like I said, it's either 40 years or 46 years. And, he goes on to say that what God has put together, let no man put asunder. So I was like, you should have said, let no woman put asunder. Because at that moment, Miss Rochelle scrolled into the room, front and center. So, everybody's giving applause and everything. And she's doing like this, and Lady Mae spot her. And Bishop may have gained about 2 steps with that speech because it was a really good speech. But when Lady Mae saw Rochelle walk into that room, that pushed him back about a dozen steps. So he even further in the doghouse than he was when the evening began. So of course Lady Mae was clearly upset to see Rochelle there, and so the bishop was like, I'll get rid of her, I'll go talk to her. And she was basically like, you do whatever you want to. Because I am done with you. So then by now Rochelle is talking to Grace and Darius, and so she throws in, about how good looking Darius is, and she doesn't blame Grace for not bringing him around to the church because, the people will be wanting to get a taste, will want to get a taste of this little treat that she got. Just totally inappropriate, but it's Rochelle and we know what she's all about. So before the bishop came over, Rochelle and Clara were talking, and so Rochelle was asking her would she be interested in donating to this new group or this new cause that Grace has. And so Clara was telling her that, she would love to. It sounds like a good idea, but right now, she's working on this project with the bishop and Lady May that's got her funds tied up, and she really doesn't have any more money to devote to any other causes right now. So, of course, that raised Rochelle's eyebrow. So the bishop gets her, they go off to the side, and instead of him telling her, it's inappropriate for you to be here, you've upset my wife, I need you to leave, he's standing there having this long, drawn-out dialogue with her where she's basically telling him that he led her on and she wasn't the one that invited him to the Biltmore. He called her and asked her to come there, and she's sending mixed signals, and so she doesn't know what to think. And so then he's like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I told you I was trying to work things out with my wife. And she's basically saying, yeah, but that don't mean that we can't have our little thing on the side. And so he just wouldn't put his foot down, and then the facial expression was like he was in agony as he was trying to break this thing off that isn't a thing with her. And the whole while Lady May, she's staring off in the distance, watching the body language, which is saying that we had something going on and we don't know what to do about it. And so she's just getting more angered by it. So finally he tells Rochelle, she got to leave. But before Rochelle leaves, she finds Clara, and she asks Clara again, oh, that thing that you're working on with the bishop, can you tell me about it? And Clara was like, hell no, I can't tell you about it. That's confidential. And she was like, are you sure you can't tell me what it is? And so she was like, I'm sure I can. And so then Rochelle was like, well, you might want to get with your money manager and have him go over whatever it is that they want you to do to make sure that, that your money isn't being misused or whatever. So now she done raised Claire's ear, like she listening now. Okay, wait a minute. Maybe something is going on and they're in deeper trouble, but she basically wouldn't tell Rochelle what it is they're working with them on. Then we had a scene where Connie runs into Grace and asks, about Kevin, why is Kevin no longer coming to church? And so Grace says that he's not showing up because he doesn't feel supported as a gay man, which we all know is not the truth, because Kevin was always accepted at Calvary. So Grace, don't go there. And so now she's bringing up the whole thing about she doesn't understand why Calvary can't be a part of the coalition of churches that's being more openly supportive of the gay community. And Connie lets her know that we support people who come to Calvary, and we never said gay people couldn't come to Calvary, but we are not going against the Bible to say that homosexuality is right, but Grace, once she gets up in her head, she gonna push it to the end, not understanding that, yeah, they may be unaccepting of gay people in the sense that they won't change that philosophy. But if you get enough people in the church and you get to know them and realize that they're human beings, they bleed just like the rest of us, they cry when they're hurt, they laugh when they're happy, then that whole stigma of being gay and homosexual, that kind of goes away because you're seeing the person for who they are and you're liking them for who they are. And so Grace may need to stop being so high and mighty and try to tell other people how to think and how to feel and just go with the flow in this natural progression, because I guarantee you there's no way they got thousands of members over there at Calvary and ain't got no gay people up in there, okay? And if those people aren't fighting for them to become a part of the coalition, then Grace, go somewhere and sit down. So then Jacob brings Carissa, some champagne and lets her know that Lady May says that Zora can come and stay with them, but Carissa doesn't like the idea, even though Jacob loves it. But then that upsets Carissa, and she's ready to leave. Like, let's just get the kids and go. So then we have a little short scene where Sofia and, is it Roberto? Roberto. They decide to go outside. And I think she had asked Zora, did she want to come? But Zora said no. And Zora ended up going up to Sofia's room, to get on the computer, because that's all she wants in her life right now, is to be able to touch base with Isaiah. So outside in the car, I don't know why they was in the car, because I thought they said they was going to walk out to the lake, but they end up in the car and they making that kissing and everything. And then Roberto gets a little touchy-feely, and so Sofia's like, oh no, we ain't back to do all that up in here. And I'm just like, boy, is your hormones that out of control that you think you can have sex with this girl? Like, this is her first time, and y'all gonna do it in the car in the front of her grandparents' mansion where there are all these people in the house for this event. Like, are you crazy? So Sofia's like, no, let's go back inside. But then Roberto, he's all in his feelings, and he said, no, I think I'm just gonna go home. And Sofia was like, fine, you going on back home. So she goes back in the house and goes upstairs where she finds, she's trying to vent to Zora about what's going on. And Zora, then already lost her virginity to this boy that's kicking her behind, wants to know, why is Sofia trying to save it for marriage? So Sofia's like trying to explain her stance in the situation when she look over and see that laptop and find out that Zora has been talking to Isaiah. So the two of them get to arguing, fussing, and eventually in a fist fight. So at that moment, Carissa comes in and, she breaks it up, and then she look over on the bed, see the laptop, and find out that Zora been talking to Isaiah. And so she is about done with this heifer, and Zora put her hand up in her mama's face. Now, remember them two techniques I told y'all about 10 minutes ago? This would have been the perfect opportunity to apply one or both of those, because that little girl would have been laid out. And like I said, she is about to be the Tariq of these Greenleaf streets where nobody can stand her. And so now Carissa is all like, yeah, this girl got to go somewhere. So she agrees to allow Zora to go and stay with Lady May. And I'm like, So back downstairs, the guests are getting ready to leave. And so Clara tells Lady May that before she makes a decision on the money, that she wants her and Bishop Greenleaf to sit down with her money manager to go over her finances one more time before she gives them the money. And so this news like really shocked Lady May. And I don't know if it shocked her because she saw her and Rochelle talking, or if it shocked her because this is the first time that Clara has said that, kind of lean to the side that she ain't really trusting them right now, or that, people are talking about, that they may be breaking up, or the tension between them. So now she's like, oh, Lord, what we gonna do now, y'all? The next day, Grace comes across an article, because remember, Darius had already told her about this list that was going around the churches that were being investigated by the IRS, and that Calvary was at the top of the list. So now the media's picking up on the story, and they're talking about it. So then Connie comes by to ask Grace if she would be willing to take on the role as the head pastor of Calvary, because she too has heard about the stories that they're in trouble and that they need to be ready to unseat Bishop Greenleaf and put Grace in charge so that, the whole church doesn't come crumbling down. And so meanwhile, Zora is on her way to moving in with Lady May. So Lady May all smiling and everything, like, she's the beloved grandmother. But then Zora gave her a little taste of what was going on. And so Lady May had to make her hug Jacob and Carissa and tell them goodbye. And then little heifer went and slammed the door when she went in. Well, not slammed the door, because I think they were sliding doors, but she like slammed them together when she went into the room. Now y'all tell me, how they in that big old mansion on all that property, and Lady May is going to be able to keep Zora off the phone, off the internet, from saying she out there at that lake, but she done really tipped off that property and went and met that boy Isaiah. How is she going to keep Isaiah from even coming on the property? Like, this is going to be so interesting to see how this whole situation works out. But Lady May just don't strike me as that grandparent who rules with an iron fist. So she may be done bit off more than she can chew. And so the show ended with Charity, and she's in the piano room at this hotel or wherever she's staying at, and it was a room full of white folks, rich white folks, and the piano player was playing, and I think she was singing I Will Survive, but it was one of them old songs that everybody know the words to, and she was all into it and everything. She finished her song, and they was applauding and everything. Next day we know she got a tap on the shoulder. She turned around, it was the police, y'all. The sheriff like, you on Charity Greenleaf? And she was like, yes I am. ma'am, you under arrest for kidnapping your child. And why did she have poor baby Nathan in the bar with her in the stroller? Like all these white people all dressed nice and everything. She dressed nice and the baby just off to the side in the stroller. I was like, Charity, now you need to be ashamed of yourself. But guys, that was it for me. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you thought about the episode. If there's anything that I missed talking about that you want to talk about, put it in the comments. I do respond and interact with the people in the comments. If I missed something or spoke on something, y'all call me out all the time and tell me that I be talking too fast or whatever and be done called the wrong name or, done mess something up. You can put that in the comments as well. Rate the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.